nearly 20 years, Tony Harbour entered the doors of the Blind Veterans UK Centre in Brighton as a volunteer. A former RAF policeman, Tony started helping out at the centre as an electrician, but after meeting a veteran who'd lost his sight, he decided to become one of the centre's carers. Throughout his time as a volunteer, Tony worked to make life for those who were blind or visually impaired easier. That was until he himself was diagnosed with glaucoma and registered blind in December 2009.
It wasn't until the January time that it suddenly really hit me what had happened to me. And you start to think then that your life's finished, because there's lots of things that you cannot do. And you need help, you need someone there with you all the time. And I don't mind admitting now, that yes, all I wanted to do was commit suicide.
Tony's just one of the many blind and visually impaired veterans who have been helped by the charity since it started 100 years ago. 1914 marked the start of the First World War. During the 4 years of fighting, more than 700,000 soldiers from the British Isles were killed, and many more returned back to the UK with appalling injuries. Blindness was one of them. Dealing with his own sight loss was Sir Arthur Pearson, the founder of the Daily Express and the president of the National Institute of Blind People. Determined to carry on living actively, he visited the wounded in hospital, giving them a Braille watch as a symbol of their first step towards independence.
He saw blind soldiers coming out of the trenches in the First World War in 1914, 1915, and he thought, we've got to do something to help them. And he didn't think that the country was particularly well prepared to do that, and he wanted to do something about it.
Sir Arthur was certain that with training, the men could return to a useful and fulfilling life, so he started planning for a new training centre supported by the National Institute for the Blind. By the end of the First World War, the charity, then called St Dunstan's, was caring for around 1,500 soldiers who'd been blinded in the war.
Some of the skills that the charity used to give the blind veterans in the early days related to what they could use their hands for in those days. And it was quite interesting to see the range of skills that they chose. For example, massage, a great thing for somebody who's blind but can use their hands. Basket work, woodwork, and poultry farming even. So a wide range of different things. And the purpose was to give them an interest, something they may be able to earn some income from, but really also to give them confidence that there were activities that they could reasonably take on and be successful in and get fulfilment from.
In 1935, with the threat of a Second World War looming and the prospect of more veterans needing support, the charity started building a new centre. Here, perched on the hill overlooking the south coast, is the Blind Veterans UK Brighton Centre. From the outside, it doesn't look like it's changed very much since it opened in 1938. But on the inside, the services it offers have had to adapt to meet the changing needs of the veterans it supports. Visually impaired veterans can come to the centre for their initial assessment. Then the members can return here for holidays, respite, residential and nursing care. The centre has 85 bedrooms for short-term visitors, but there's also more permanent homes for those who need residential care.
But also, ladies and gentlemen, it's for a good cause, as we know.
For Tony, having walked through the doors of the centre as a volunteer and then as a blind veteran, it's a home away from home. He says he can still remember his first visit here after losing his sight.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. I walked through the door and was greeted with, "Good morning, Mr. Harbour, sir." And this particular person leant over the counter and said, "That's the first and last time I'll call you sir. Now off." Right. And he asked me if I'd got my papers, and I said no. He said, "I'll get them for you. Have you got your badge?" And I said, "No, I haven't got my badge." So he said, "Okay, I'll get your badge. Would you like me to put it on?" And I said, "Yes, please." So he put it on. Well, as you know, I'm an ex-RAF policeman, and we're known as snowdrops because we wear white hats. And walking up the stairs and meeting people that I knew, staff, morning Tony, all right, yes. But everyone I spoke to started laughing. And eventually I said to someone, what are you laughing at, please, you know? And they said, your badge, haven't you seen it? I said, no, I haven't. They said, who gave it to you? I said, name of this particular person. And they started laughing again. I said, come on in. They said, you don't know what it says? I said, no. I said, but tell me please. And they said, right, it's just got Tony Harbour, blind snowdrop. Right. Now, a lot of people will think that is nasty, but it's not. It's not. This is what we want. We don't want pampering. We do need help, yes, when we're walking about somewhere, but we don't want to be pampered here and there. Oh, we're so sorry, you're this. We don't want it. We're all ex-service personnel. It's the banter that we love.
While the charity traditionally helps soldiers who were injured in operations, it's broadened its remit to include veterans like Tony, who lost their vision after they came out of the forces. The charity's No One Alone campaign believes tens of thousands of veterans in the UK might not even realise that they qualify for support.
If they've served their country, even in national service, even in the reserves, and are now suffering from visual impairment, then we're here to help them, and we're very keen to find them. So if anybody knows of somebody who's in that category who could use our help and support, then please put them in touch.
So we have a huge range of hand magnifiers that people might use.
In the 100 years since the centre opened, advancements in technology for the blind have enabled them to live more independently.
Yes, often one of the problems that people have, a lot of our members will say, oh well, I always used to get up and make the morning tea, but now I can't do that. And that's quite a ritual that sometimes people have had. So something simple like this, replacing the kettle for a smaller kettle, so you haven't got a great big kettle that you're pouring from a height. Mm-hmm. And then this little device is called a liquid level indicator. So just hold the kettle against the edge, just tip and pour slowly, and then you will hear the device bleep at you. There you go, and just stop there, pop your kettle down, stop it bleeping, just lift the device out of the cup.
And so just moving on, I can see a diary here, and this again is something that someone would use on a day-to-day basis. How's it been adapted?
Well, again, people often say I have to rely on my wife or my husband to tell me what's on the calendar because I can't see the diary. These big print diaries, a lot of our veterans have got some residual vision, so they would be able to perhaps see those days and dates. What they can't do is perhaps write the information in themselves, or often what they say is I write it in but I can't read it back because I can't read my handwriting. So this is where something like this comes in. It's called a pen friend, and it's a little audio labeler, and it comes with lots of little adhesive labelling dots. So the veteran would just stick the dot on the appropriate day. What you need to just do is turn the device on, it's battery run. You press the record button, find the dot. Now I can talk. Monday the 24th of May, go to the doctor's at 10:30. Press the record button again. Now without touching any buttons, that message should now be on that dot. So again, I can just find it by feel or by sight. Monday the 24th of May, go to the doctor's at 10:30. So again, if the veteran's got enough sight to be able to see the day, see the dot, or even feel the dot, you're then independent.
And if there are more people like you out there, then our problems simply go away. So
from when it started in 1915, the charity has grown to accommodate those needing support. At the moment, it helps provide support for around 7,000 members. In 2005, it opened a new centre in Sheffield, and a few years later, it opened one in North Wales. Moving now from a centre that opened more than 75 years ago to a centre that opened in 2011, the Llandudno Centre in North Wales has enabled Blind Veterans UK to help thousands more people, and it's also meant they can provide support to people further afield.
Left-right swipe until you get to tap-tap-C.
And as the charity's evolved, so has the technology. Taking place at the Llandudno Centre is a smartphone session. The veterans here are learning how to use an app that lets them identify an item of food by scanning a barcode. Taking part in the session is Sean Stocker. At 24, he's soon to be the charity's youngest member. Sean, who lives in Wrexham, was a Fusilier with 1st Battalion the Royal Welsh. 5 years ago, he was serving in Afghanistan when he stepped on an IED 6 days before the end of his tour. He was badly injured and lost both of his legs, as well as his sight.
I didn't know what had happened to me. I felt like I was in a dream when it first happened. But I'd lost my eyesight completely, and I couldn't feel anything else. I was hoping that was just dirt in my eyes, and that I'd just been shook up rather than any injuries or worst case scenario, losing my legs. Well, my left eye is a prosthetic eye, so it's totally dark on that side. My right eye, I've got less than 30% visioning, so I think that the centre vision of my eyesight is gone. So everything I focus on, everything I look at, kind of disappears. So I have to use my peripheral vision, so it's the vision around the outside that I use, and that's how I'm able to walk around, and that's how I'm able to, do most things.
After Sean was injured, it was a while after he accessed the help available to him through Blind Veterans UK. When he did, he says he was impressed by what they had to offer.
Letter reading equipment, I wouldn't be able to do anything in my business or read my own letters or do anything if I didn't have that. And it was Blind Veterans that gave me that, as well as computer equipment. I do some presentations for motivational speaking, and I created a website on there, and I wouldn't be able to do half of the stuff that I do if I didn't have that computer equipment.
Sean now wants to give something back to the charity that's helped him since his injury. He's aiming to walk 100 kilometres next year on his new prosthetic implants to raise money for Blind Veterans UK, and also to give him a goal for his rehabilitation. He's hoping that his road to recovery will help others.